Hello everybody and welcome back to INSANEBRIT Gaming. I am the INSANEBRIT and this is this week's News Friday, where I talk about all the week's gaming news, gaming topics and some anime and film news if I find it. We've got some film news to talk about and of course some games as well. The big breaking news story which you've seen over the past week, and I'm going to have my say on it, my 2 cents. I'll pop in and say what I think about the whole thing, and that is TellTales shutting down. Now when you look at choice-based games or click based games, PC do this very well and it's been going on forever, but it's choice based games. If you look at the higher end, you're talking Fahrenheit on the PS2 years ago from Quantic Dream, I believe they're called. Recently Beyond Two Souls, and then you've got Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain. So they come out on the PS2, PS3 and PS4. Those are the top end, high end specs of gaming with great graphics. However, the TellTales series did the click style as well, but they had their very own unique style, and it stood out and it was different, and it wasn't as high quality as the AAA games, but it definitely had some great writing involved with those telling of the story, their own story in that particular universe. And we're going to be talking today about where it went wrong. So I'm going to give you some updates about the story as well as after as well. So TellTales Games, best known for its choice-based narrative take on The Walking Dead, laid off the majority of its staff today. Multiple reports say that the studio is going from around 250 employees to only 25, just enough to complete one last project. After that, multiple sources have claimed it's all but certain TellTale will shut down. So they've 250 people is a lot of people for that company, but they were working on multiple projects, including Netflix's Stranger Things and the Wolf Among Us Season 2, which has all essentially been cancelled. Netflix has basically said that they're going to be trying to look to make a game, but they go with a different company in itself. It doesn't seem that long ago that TellTales was the studio to watch out for. Back in 2012, the Walking Dead game cleaned up at the Game of the Year awards. The accolade seems to indicate the re-emergence of point-and-click style adventure games, and earned TellTale itself the rights to make games based on huge franchises such as Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy and Stranger Things. Of course, Stranger Things has been cancelled. Guardians of the Galaxy I haven't played yet, and I will be playing at some point, but don't worry, I won't be playing that for a while because I'm playing Minecraft right now with Telltale series. That's a point and click, and then I'll be bouncing around to other games, trust me on that. And Game of Thrones I found in particular was quite boring until like the 5th episode when there was a dragon appeared. And even then, it was mostly walking around in gardens talking about politics. I deleted the playthrough because I fucked up the sound, but that's my fault on that. But there you go. However, The Verge reports there was trouble behind the scenes, trouble that was slowly leading to TellTale's undoing. Stories came out a few months ago telling how TellTale management was toxic and the employees were overworked. That happens in a lot of gaming industries and animations. Their workers are overworked. I mean, you should see the guys that work for Bleach and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Those anime writers, or the manga, sorry, work tirelessly, like a room of 50, 60 people. Just ridiculous. So that don't surprise me. Okay, Overworked. In the summer, ousted co-founder Kevin Brunner sued the studio over the manner of his firing, a move the studio called an apparent means of extracting revenge on a company already under financial strain. So he knew the financial situation, but he was ousted. Of course, if you're the co-founder of a company and he was ousted, I wouldn't blame him for that. I really wouldn't, especially, you know what I mean? That would piss me off too. So it is what it is in that respect. That financial strain was the result of games failing to reach the same level of the Walking Dead series. Blah 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 wrote an article of how TellTale had been working on the same engine used 6 years ago for the first Walking Dead, so it was the same engine, you know what I mean? They didn't move on from that technology, and 6 years is a long time in technology terms. That combined with the game's tiring but seamlessly pointless choices in TellTale storytelling hit sales hard. Game of Thrones failed to meet the HBO's expectations, putting the potential sequel in limbo. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, basically a money machine, never did as well as it should have. Even with all the writing on the wall, TellTales employees were surprised to arrive to work today, only to be sent home. The Verge says that the employees were informed of the layoffs just today, just given 30 minutes to leave with no severance pay. As for the 25 remaining employees, they are supposedly just there to finish one last project before the company goes under announcement. Future announcements, titles like The Wolf Among Us are now cancelled, which I just told you. It's been incredibly difficult. I think they released a statement here. It's been an incredibly difficult year for TellTales as we've worked to set the company on a new course. The CEO, Peter Hawley, said yesterday, unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of the best content this year. We received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the industry. And that's essentially it, guys. When it comes to the TellTales, they arrived and they were told to go home. And there's a further update on that. Actually, before I get into that, I want to have my say on what they could have done. Well, there's actually some criticisms here for me, actually. Just wondering which way to go about it. We know what. I'll tell you the updated situation, actually. Now, the updated situation is that the employees are now suing the company. The 200 plus or whatever are now suing the company in a class action lawsuit, which basically entitles them to go for it, put your name forward, and then you'll get a chunk of money. If the class action goes forward and they win, they get a chunk of money. But here's the interesting thing, and here's a little bit more detail now. I kind of see it from both perspectives. Of course, they were entitled to health benefits and wages up until 60 days to that point of being fired. In that particular state, you are entitled to get a 60-day notice before you're fired or have to leave the job in itself. That is the law. Having said that, the employee does not have the money to pay you. So if you are working for me and I'm TellTales, what do? I can either fire you today and tell you, you don't put the money down for that holiday, I'm not going to be able to pay you anything. There's no money. So start looking for a job now. Don't wait. Now. Do it now. Your family need the money, X, Y, and Z. That makes perfect sense to me. It's logical. Or you can work for me for the next 60 days, and at the end of that 60 days, I won't be paying you fuck all. So he's going to get sued anyway. If he fired them now and gets sued for the money, or if he waits 60 days, he's still going to get sued because he has no money to pay them. So it was inevitable. He did the smart thing in warning them, just being fair to them. I mean, at the end of that, it's not fair. They've had to be let go. But it weren't his fault. A company pulled out of a deal. I believe it was Lionsgate. They're not really saying, but it's rumored to be Lionsgate being one of those people, one of the companies that pulled out of making financing them in a big game or whatever, and they've pulled the feet from under the rug from underneath them. Therefore, they can't make it. If the money ain't there, you can't make the game. It's just the way it is. Having said that, they did expand 250 people, and they were making multiple projects this time, trying to cash in on some of the big name shows going on. Stranger Things. They did it with Guardians of the Galaxy and Game of Thrones, which were very, very popular. But remember, most of the people watching these shows, I think, more or less are adults, and they're very political. They're not kids' games. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, but having said that, kids prefer a certain type of game to play when it comes to playing good games like open world. They don't want click style games. They're not into that. They want a shooter or something like that. That's what kids more or less want. The Walking Dead a few years ago when it came out was very, very popular, and even now it's died down. Main characters have gone, so people ain't interested in the show as much. But as you said, it didn't go into the sales from what people said. Oh, we love it, but no one really wanted to put the money where their mouth was, and that's just the way it is. Having said that, I will say there are some criticisms on their end as well, and that is when you releasing it episodically is a bit of a pain in the arse, because when you do that, people get bored and don't want to wait each month. That's a long time. Sometimes you can say, oh, I can't wait to see what next month's episode is, but when you look at today's society and Netflix or whatever it may be, or even having something delivered for you to you, they get it the next day. Everything's now. You pay a little bit extra money, you get it now. So releasing it episodically is a bit of a pain in the arse. I myself, probably my subscribers think that I wait too long to release a whole playthrough when I do an hour a day. Hell, I know a guy who releases The Witcher 3 an hour a week. A week! Fuck that. You know, and he still gets tons of views, but they take forever to complete that game. But I do an hour a day kind of thing. So, waiting a month for an episode, and if you pay £5 something for that episode, and then that's it, because you're not really happy, or you forget about buying the rest of it, you don't really give a shit. And then you're making a whole game, and people are paying you £5 for one episode, not liking your game. I think what they should have done is basically charge more for their games, and you know, and made people pay up front the whole thing. It's just 30, 35, and then when the game came out each month, they can download it or don't download it. It's up to them, but you still got your money. Having said that, I would like to have seen them not bother doing that point blank and just essentially release the whole game in one. That way, you know, they would have had their money, people wouldn't have been impatient, and it would have done a lot better, you know what I mean? Because people marathon games, you know what I mean? They don't play for 2 hours and then just put it down. Some complete a whole game in a day. It's just the way it is. That's what gamers are like. So I think the business model was a little bit flawed in that respect. Having said that, they could have branched out to even more interesting and well-established titles, things that people were hungry for, like an Aliens game. It would have been click and play kind of game. But at least, I mean, they did it with Batman. They could have also have cashed on into some superhero games. You know, I don't know if there's a Spider-Man game, it's open world, but they could have branched into a big fan base. Even a Star Wars click game, that might have even worked. Then again, no, EA's probably got the license deal for that. But you know what I mean? They could have done so much things with big popular series, which ain't really, there's a market for, but no one's really gone after them. In respects, Star Wars might have worked. I don't know if they could have got the licensing for that, but it's a very different type of game compared to what EA is doing, etc. So it might have worked that way. So that's my criticism. Further update in respects to what's happening. So they are being sued by their former employees who's got no money. Not only that, the God of War director has come out and donated some money as well, and I believe Naughty Dog has come out and said that those people who have been fired, we are making, we've got some positions for you if you're interested, and you can apply to our company, which is great. And I love to see the gaming community, other companies coming out and saying, well, rival, no rival, doesn't matter, you're people, you need a job in our industry, and trying to help them out. And I really like seeing that. That's really, really good. But yeah, so TellTales right now is dead. It's over and done with. It's a shame. They were great games. I enjoy playing them. They're choice-based. I think they could have added more gameplay into the games instead of just point and click aspects of it. There needs to be maybe some shooting. You know, Clementine taking a few pop shots at some zombies here and there weren't really good enough. You know what I mean? You needed more of that. You know, and Minecraft had the crafting as well as the click as well. Kind of thing, so at least crafting was added in there as well. So they could have done more in that respect, but it's going to be a shame that we won't get no TellTales games. I will buy the remaining ones that I want to play. Well, there's only one, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy that I really have to buy. Guardians of the Galaxy, Minecraft I'm already doing, and Season 2, and then I've got the Batman game to play as well. And then essentially that will be it, I think. And that will be the end of TellTales, so it's a sad day. Moving on to Red Dead Redemption, there's a couple of interesting situations going on with that, actually. There's apparently going to be 200 species of animal in fish, bears and birds and all that in the actual game, which is absolutely incredible. 200 species, that's and you can hunt them obviously, and you've got to, when you fish, you've got to have the right bait, and you know, there's a technique to doing it or whatever. You've got to get the timing right. It's very detailed supposedly, which is interesting. It reminds me of Far Cry, probably with a little bit more detail added in. I mean, I don't think they've got fishing. If anything, I use a grenade to fish. But yeah, or you stab the fish, I think. But yeah, so they've got 200 different species of animal in there, and I'm not surprised, because this next bit about thing I'm going to read. Red Dead Redemption 2 requires 105 gigabyte install and supports up to 32 players online. Now, GTA has 30 players, I believe. So this has an online aspect of it, 32 players. It doesn't surprise me, the fact that 2013 that game came out, in GTA. This time they've got the technology's advanced, they've got more used to it, so they've made it even bigger and better, and that's why I think it's 64 to 70 gigabyte I think that GTA takes up, and this one, day one, takes up 105. That's absolutely crazy. 105 gig, hold on. Red Dead Redemption will require a massive 105 gigabyte hard drive space to install on the PS4. First spotted on Rockstar Intel US retailer Target revealed the figure through the image of a PS4 Pro Red Dead Redemption bundle. Seen below, we'll see size variables across platforms. Xbox One owners should expect a similar amount of hard drive space. Damn, so it's the same on both consoles more or less. The image also revealed Red Dead Online will support up to 32 players, putting it slightly above GTA's 30-player limit. Meanwhile, select online content will be exclusive to PlayStation 4 for 30 days, according to the box. Red Dead Redemption 2 will be playable entirely in first person when it's released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One on October 26. We recently spent 2 hours in the world of Red Dead, being blown away by its in-depth polish and amazing attention to detail. Blah, 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 blah. And that's about it for Red Dead Redemption news. But 105 gigabytes, damn, I've got 1 terabyte on my PS4 Pro, so I'm kind of lucky in that respect. Next up, we're going to move on to some movie news, and that is Diablo animated series reportedly in develop at Netflix. According to a new report, a Diablo animated series could be heading to Netflix. This comes from a since deleted tweet from comic book publishing company Boom Studios founder Andy Cosby reported by Variety, who said that he was in final talks to helm the show for Activision Blizzard and Netflix. It's very exciting, and I hope to the high heavens it all works out. He reportedly said. I've never played Diablo, but I'm definitely interested in watching an animated series and seeing what it's all about. It just brings it to the forefront in mainstream, at least to me anyway. As someone who never really played the games or anything like that, who knows, might get some more fans. If the rumor comes true, Cosby would be juggling the series alongside his work on the Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen script that he is co-writing with Christopher Golden and Mike Mignola. I didn't mind the second Hellboy movie. First one I didn't like. I knew it was an origin story more or less, or a slow build-up. We reached out to Netflix and the company has responded with no comment. In other Diablo news, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection for the Nintendo Switch will be released in November 2018. The first day BlizzCon, we play again, blah, blah, blah. So there's So Diablo 3 Eternal Collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and reportedly Diablo, the animated series, is coming to Netflix, so I'll be looking forward to that. Should be good. Next up we have Mila Jovovich, what's her name? The girl in Resident Evil, responds to the Resident Evil movie reboot. Now, a lot of people criticize Resident Evil. They're basically action flicks. I get it. They were good for what they were. I mean, I bought the first one 2001 when I was at school, or 2002. I was about 15, 16. Loved them. They were action flicks. Really good, especially the first one. I did enjoy the second one, and then it kind of petered off to me. I did enjoy the final one, though, because the plot twist or whatever. Alice herself, Mila Jovovich, sorry, I can't pronounce her name, has thoughts about the Resident Evil movie reboot that is now in development. While never a big hit with the critics and often controversial among die-hard fans of the popular video game that inspired Paul W.S. Anderson, who is a husband, by the way, the Resident Evil film franchise has been hit by moviegoers by a controversial measure. Each entry into the 6-film series managed to earn sizable 9-figure profits despite their budget usually being up to $100 million on average. And it's brought in $1.2 billion at the box office worldwide. Everyone's Resident Evil fans, you know, they cashed in on that. It was good to a point, but a lot of people criticized it because it didn't stick to the origin story. Basically, she goes on to say, by the way, Alice was a character invented by Anderson for the films with no narrative ties to the video game canon whatsoever. Alice's status as a movie-specific character has been source of much of a formulated controversial, with many wishing that the movies had told a story closer to the source material, which I understand and agree with, and hopefully the next one will be more horror-based, etc., etc. Anyway, she basically has a little bit of a stab at it and goes something like, we were fans of the games and stuff like that, and people can tell when it's a cash grab or imminent cash grab. And let me switch back to the camera. And I kind of get what she's saying, but I also think, well, you made a movie. It was based on a series. It wasn't true to the source material. Fans criticised it. Critics criticised it. The only casual moviegoer who never really played Resident Evil like that was probably me, and I enjoyed them. But even I know they're not horror based like that, right? True horror, as they should be. And I would like to see the reboot stick to a horror base, more intensity, and have the main characters kind of, so we get to learn about them, etc. So I'm hoping it goes well with them. Speaking of Paul S. Anderson or whatever, her husband, we move on to our final story, and that is Monster Hunter movie will have, the article says, Monster Hunter movie will have bloody big monsters, said, and this kind of folds back into what I was saying. Monster Hunter movie will have bloody big monsters, says Resident Evil director Paul W.S. Anderson. No! I'm sorry, but I don't, after the Resident Evil movies and his directing, the first one was alright, but I don't really have faith in him to deliver this. Monster Hunter is a massive game. It's a rich, deep world. I noticed the games, well, the new games just come out. There's a whole history of the actual franchise in itself, and there's like a game in the Switch, I think, comes to the Switch for 100+ monsters, the older versions. But fuck me. Him directing that movie, weren't somebody else fucking available, like fucking Peter Jackson or Steven Spielberg? That's wank. Back in May, we learned that Capcom's popular RPG Monster Hunter will be making a big screen debut with Resident Evil star. It gets better. Mila Jovovich or whatever is in the leading role. His fucking wife is in the role. So we've gone from Resident Evil and people criticising that movie to it being rebooted and they're not really liking that aspect with a little bit of a whatever, to let's make another video game fucking movie and, you know, conveniently I'm directing, so let's put my wife in it. Fuck off, man. That's fucking shit. That is wank. It feels like fucking... I'm sorry, but I don't have faith in this movie now that I know he's directing. We have to see how it works out, but I'm fucking not liking that. It just seems too fucking convenient that she's in it. Can't you do anything about your fucking wife, dude? Also attached to the project, husband Paul W.S. Anderson, Event Horizon, who will direct the live adaptation. While speaking with Anderson about the upcoming YouTube Origin sci-fi horror series Origin, the director shed some light on the Monster Hunter film and what we can expect to see when it hits theaters. He just goes, there are some bloody big monsters in it. I can tell you that. Oh, well, fuck me. I could have told you. Oh, fuck. Well, if there wasn't, oh, my God. Anderson said, adding, we have some very, very big monsters. Fucking hell. Anderson was not at liberty to share all of the details surrounding the ambitious production. Yeah, it is ambitious. But he did inform us that there will be additional casting news coming soon. We are about to make a series of announcements, and the cast explained, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on, let's see if there's the next bit. For Anderson, making a Monster Hunter movie is a big deal. I'm a long-term fan of the game, like you were Resident Evil. Anderson explained, I've been trying to make this movie and talking to Capcom for 10 years now. So it's a really labor of love of mine. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't have faith in him to do it. I'm worried. I think it's going to be an action flick, and that's all it's going to be, with a few set pieces. I'd rather Peter Jackson or Steven Spielberg take it on. Fucking hell. Because it feels like it's going to be a generic movie where they knock them out every year. You know what I mean? Monster Hunter 2. You know, The Awakening. Fuck off. I don't know. I'm not liking this one bit. The movie was shot in Cape Town, South Africa, where Anderson has worked before. He explained why it's important to shoot in such a scenic location. The landscapes are incredible. Tolkien was influenced by South Africa when he was writing Lord of the Rings. Who? Oh, what? Okay, the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings. I was like, what? There's an epic scenery for Monster Hunter. We need insane landscapes. Monster Hunter begins production in 2 weeks. According to Anderson, no release date has been announced. Be sure to check out the review of Monster Hunter World, newly beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my fucking God. Okay, guys, basically what happened was my microphone went off. I don't know why what that's about. So the last thing I was saying is that it being filmed in South Africa, blah, 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 not at liberty to say more and give him more casting details. I can give you some more details on the casting. Ron Perlman has been brought into the movie as well. There was another dude, I can't remember his name, but I know Ron Perlman. You may know him from Alien Resurrection, the big guy who was a dick in the movie, you know what I mean? And he was in Amazon's exclusive Hand of God. Good actor. He would suit a role, any one of those roles. I was actually playing the game a few weeks ago and was thinking about him being in the movie. Like, if there was a movie version, he would fit the role as one of the captains. But yeah, so I have faith in him as an actor. But I just don't have faith in Paul W.S. Anderson, whatever his fucking name is. Especially the fact that his wife's tacked onto it. Like, oh, well, I'm making the movie, so I'm going to cast my wife conveniently. You know, I mean, I wouldn't even trust myself to make the movie. You know, I would say, look, give it to someone who knows what they're doing. Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson. I know Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings. He made The Hobbit. He made, you know, King Kong. You know, I have faith in him. Hell, at this point, even one of the directors of the Star Wars movies, they were pretty good movies. I know people say The Last Jedi was shit and all the rest of it. But in respects to a big budget, big production, pressure's on, fan base, X, Y, and Z, I don't want this to be another, well, we're making a video game to movie ratio and we're just going to knock them out year after year. That's going to piss me off with a few set pieces. It's going to be like an action flick. And we want depth. We want story. There's going to be action. We know that. But we don't want a few set pieces. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I think his wife's a good actor. I'm not denying that, really. But it just feels like they come as a package deal when they've just... the Resident Evil wasn't done as well as it should have been or could have been, and people criticised it. So I don't want another fucking failure of a video game to movie ratio. It just feels that they never get video games to movies right. Doom was criticised, Resident Evil was criticised, even the Assassin's Creed movie was criticised, and rightly so, to be honest with you, because I've never fucking, in my before life, have needed to know that the guy was in the Anonymous machine 50 times in the past 40 minutes, you fucking dicks. They got that one wrong, because that would just annoy the shit out of me. But we've got another video game to movie ratio happening. We can only do what we always do, hope and pray. How come they get the super movies right, the superhero movies right? Captain America, Superman. Oh, I enjoyed Superman. I can't speak for Justice League or Batman vs Superman. It was shit. The Batman movies. How come they get those so right? When it comes to video games, no one knows what the fuck they're doing. It's a big ass monster movie. So, you know, I don't want the guy who made Godzilla doing it either, because the guy who did the first Godzilla movie, you know, might as well have called it Humans, starring Godzilla. You know, at the bottom, because the movie was mostly about fucking human beings, and Godzilla showed up the last 20 minutes of the movie. As if we don't know who the fuck Godzilla is. So I don't know. I'm worried about the Monster Hunter movie. No idea how you guys are feeling about it. Anyway, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let me know who you would prefer to do a Monster Hunter movie. Are you excited for it? Are you already like crying? Like, fuck no, not this guy. I don't know. I'm just worried now. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's a good movie, I'll go, bravo, woo, thank you, Jesus. But I just don't have faith at this point in time. Anyway, guys, I will be finishing up Minecraft next week. I will be trying to play FIFA at some point. I want to complete my current game that I'm playing right now before I get to a new playthrough, or I could just drop it and then go to FIFA right now. I haven't even recorded. I haven't even played one game of FIFA yet, and I've got the game. I just haven't played it. There'll be some trophy videos on my channel as well. That's just inevitable. Sorry about that. I'll try and upload them in the night so you won't get panned from. You don't have to watch them. People that want to watch them can watch them, but other than that, you know, I'm always going to be doing gameplay and stuff like that, or play through the full story and everything else. Anyway, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Links will be in the description below, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to vote in the poll as well. I'll put a poll up on the community tab. I don't know what the poll will be, but I'll fucking come up with something.